Luke Skywalker and Qui-Gon Jinn share remarkable similarities in both their philosophy and approach to the Force, making them kindred spirits across different generations of Jedi. Both were independent thinkers who placed personal connection to the Force above rigid adherence to Jedi orthodoxy. Qui-Gon defied the Jedi Council when he felt their decision did not align with the will of the Force, a quality that Luke Skywalker admired and shared. Luke himself made bold decisions that went against the advice of Yoda and Obi-Wan, such as seeking to redeem Darth Vader rather than destroy the Sith. Their mutual belief in trusting the Force over dogma underscores their alignment as Jedi who acted according to their conviction rather than old tradition. And today, we'll be breaking down the deep connection between Luke Skywalker and Qui-Gon Jinn, what the Grand Master thought of Qui-Gon, discussing various theories about the connection between Qui-Gon and Luke, and also discuss how Grand Master Luke Skywalker diverged from the teachings of Qui-Gon Jinn, and where he disagreed with him. But first, we have sensed something. Only those who seek knowledge will find it. Answer the call of the Force, subscribe, and unlock the ancient secrets of the Jedi Order and the Sith Empire. The archives are open and waiting. And to our longtime students of the archives, your dedication to exploring the vast depths of the galaxy's knowledge is the mark of true mastery. Whether you walk the path of the Jedi or study the ways of the Sith, your presence keeps the Force in balance, and the archives alike. Thank you for being the guardians of these secrets, and the seekers of ever greater wisdom. Now, let us begin. Luke Skywalker deeply respected Qui-Gon for his ability to see the true potential in Anakin. While the High Council doubted Anakin, viewing him as dangerous, Qui-Gon saw him as the chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. Luke would later share the same perspective, seeing the good in Anakin after he even became Vader. Qui-Gon's faith in Anakin resonated with Luke deeply, who mirrored the same hope and compassion by saving his father from the dark side. Luke regarded Qui-Gon as a figure of immense wisdom, someone who embodied the Jedi's highest ideals, believing in redemption and the power of the individual to shape their own destiny. Despite his admiration though, Luke never attempted to reach out to Qui-Gon in the Force, assuming that Qui-Gon had fully passed on as all beings eventually must. By the time Luke began to rediscover the history of the Jedi, exploring ancient teachings, Qui-Gon's story was one of legend, passed down as part of the lore of the Old Republic. It is true Qui-Gon had learned to manifest his consciousness in the Force, but Luke's path focused on rebuilding something new rather than reaching back into the long-distant past, at least to him. This explains why Luke never attempted to commune with Qui-Gon directly, though the older Jedi's legacy would undoubtedly influence Luke's philosophy. There is a popular theory that Luke may have used Qui-Gon Jinn's kyber crystal in constructing his own green lightsaber. The idea stems from the fact that Luke's lightsaber debuted in Return of the Jedi with a striking green blade, symbolizing a new era of the Jedi. While intriguing, this theory has been debunked, and in canon the green crystal in Luke's lightsaber is more closely tied to Yoda's teachings rather than Qui-Gon. Yoda's profound connection to Luke Skywalker and his role as his mentor imprinted the blade with a significance, representing Luke's rise as the first of a new Jedi. Because of this, in canon, the green blade symbolizes not just tradition, but also an evolution of the Jedi, bridging the past and the future as one. The passing of the mantle. In Legends continuity, or the EU, Luke constructed his lightsaber with a different, more challenging context. Unable to find a natural kyber crystal in the aftermath of the rise of the Empire, Luke resorted to an ancient Sith technique to create a synthetic crystal. This reflected Luke Skywalker's adaptability and ingenuity, as well as his determination to honor Jedi tradition in the galaxy where resources were now scarce. It also showed his willingness to tread unconventional paths, much like Qui-Gon in his era. The symbolic nature of Luke's green lightsaber aligns with Qui-Gon's own use of a green blade. The green lightsaber is associated with wisdom, balance, a deep intrinsic connection to the Force. Both Jedi use their sabers not as tools of aggression, but as extensions of their belief in the Force's guidance. This shared symbolism reinforces their philosophical alignment, each Jedi representing a bridge between the old and the new. Luke Skywalker, like Qui-Gon Jinn, believed in adapting Jedi teachings to meet the needs of the present, while remaining faithful to the Force's larger, greater, cosmic, and living will. Luke and Qui-Gon's similarities tie into their shared belief in individuality of the Jedi and the importance of compassion in shaping the Order and the galaxy. And the way Qui-Gon Jinn thought is the foundation in which Luke would construct the future of the Jedi. While Luke shared many philosophical similarities with Qui-Gon though, they also had key important differences in their viewpoints and approaches to the Jedi path, which I think are just as compelling. One big divergence was their stance on attachment. Qui-Gon Jinn here was more of a traditionalist, believing that attachment could be dangerous, as he adhered tightly to the Jedi code, and also compelled Obi-Wan to do the same. Qui-Gon believed that this was essential to prevent emotional entanglement from clouding judgment. But Luke, however, took a much different approach, especially in the EU. Luke saw the value of attachment and family, and he believed that love and connection strengthened a Jedi rather than weakening them. Luke's relationship with his sister and eventual marriage to Mara Jade demonstrated his belief that attachment, when approached with balance, inspired hope, resilience, and a great power. Another difference is their view on destiny and prophecy. Qui-Gon Jinn's strong belief in the prophecy of the Chosen One and his unwavering faith in Anakin reflected his trust in the grand design of the light. Luke, while influenced by destiny through his own journey, tended to focus more on individual agency and choice. Luke believed that people had the power to shape their own future, regardless of prophecy. This guided his decision to redeem Vader, as Luke felt that it was his father's actions, not the mere predetermined role, that would ultimately determine his fate. Luke may have admired Qui-Gon's faith in the Force, but viewed his reliance on prophecy as limiting and overly idealistic. He also had a much different view on the future of the Jedi. Qui-Gon believed deeply in rooting himself in the moment, focusing on the living force, responding to immediate needs rather than long-term planning. Luke also greatly valued intuition and presence in the moment. His role as the restorer of the Jedi Order forced him to think strategically about the Jedi's survival and evolution though. Luke wrestled with how to integrate the lessons of the past with the needs of a brand new era, blending ancient Jedi principles with his own innovations. Qui-Gon, by contrast, seemed content to act as an individual Jedi without any concern for broader legacy of the Order, making their priorities very different. Despite these differences though, Luke Skywalker regarded Qui-Gon Jinn as a legendary Jedi, although he understood why individuals like Yoda considered him to be more of a rogue and a lone wolf. If Qui-Gon Jinn was a Jedi under Luke, Luke likely would have set him off in the wider galaxy to fulfill his purpose, realizing that Luke's place was as the Grand Master and Qui-Gon's as a wandering warrior and protector of the light. Luke appreciated Qui-Gon for his profound insight and wisdom. His ability to see past the surface and focus on the essence of others, such as recognizing Anakin, made him a figure of profound respect, especially to Luke. Qui-Gon's independence from the Council also stood out as a mark of integrity and a deep understanding of the Force. Luke admired his courage to defy the authority of the Council and believed it was necessary, as Luke himself often took a similar stance when faced with moral dilemma. For Luke, Qui-Gon Jinn embodied the ideal Jedi who balanced personal conviction with service to the Force. Luke felt a spiritual connection to Qui-Gon through a rich lineage of the Jedi. As the apprentice of Obi-Wan and the son of Anakin Skywalker, Luke was deeply tied to Qui-Gon's legacy. This lineage connected Qui-Gon in a profound way to the Grand Master, even if they never met. For Luke, Qui-Gon represented the ideals of wisdom that a Jedi should have at their best, a reminder of what the Jedi could and should be. Even in the darkest of eras, the Jedi light shone through. Through this connection, Luke carried forward Qui-Gon Jinn's great legacy, forging a new path for the Jedi in a galaxy that was now forever changed. Qui-Gon Jinn was the living embodiment of the Force's will, a maverick Jedi whose understanding of the Force transcended the rigid doctrine of the Jedi. His unwavering faith in the living Force, the interconnectedness of the energy of the galaxy that surrounded him, elected him to act in an instinctive way with clarity and purpose. By discovering and training Anakin, Qui-Gon planted the seed for the galaxy's redemption, even though the path would be wrought with tragedy and death. Qui-Gon's own death removed this stabilizing presence, allowing the Jedi Order to fall deeper into arrogance and complacency. But his teachings lived on in the unseen currents of the Force, waiting to shape the galaxy anew. It was Qui-Gon's mastery of the Force's true nature, his ability to become one with it and retain his consciousness after death, that served as the keystone of the Jedi's survival. Without his teachings, the Jedi would have burned away completely, unable to adapt to the challenges of the Sith's resurgence. His influence shaped Obi-Wan's ability to guide Luke, ensuring the return of a hope when all had seemed lost. For Luke, Qui-Gon was the unseen architect of his journey, the one who laid the foundation for a new understanding. By rejecting the rigidity of the old Jedi Order, Qui-Gon enabled Luke to embrace a more balanced path, forging the legacy of the Jedi anew. In that way, Qui-Gon Jinn was not merely a Jedi, he was the Force's chosen instrument, a figure whose impact rippled far beyond his lifetime, ensuring the survival of the light amidst the darkest of times. We often speak about Luke rejecting the old Jedi way, but Luke became the perfect Jedi Grandmaster by embodying the teachings of the old Jedi while transcending their limitation. Under the guidance of Kenobi and Yoda, Luke learned the core principles of the Jedi: self-discipline, compassion, and a commitment to the light. Obi-Wan instilled Luke with a sense of importance of resilience and duty, teaching him to stay true to his purpose, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. From Yoda, Luke absorbed the ancient wisdom of the Force, learning the value of patience, introspection, and the eternal battle against fear and danger, against his own anger. However, Luke Skywalker would not imitate his mentors. He adapted their lessons, combining their strengths while avoiding their rigidity. Luke's greatest fear after becoming Jedi Grandmaster was recreating the mistakes of his teachers. Luke, like Qui-Gon before, recognized the Force itself was his true master, not the Jedi Council or tradition. While Obi-Wan and Yoda emphasized the mistakes of the old Jedi, cautioning Luke to avoid attachment, Luke saw the value in forging meaningful connection, with this being the most overused example, but also because it's the best. Luke's ability to listen to the Force, rather than blindly following the old way, this enabled him to walk a unique path that balanced emotion and wisdom. The intuitive understanding of the Force reflected Qui-Gon Jinn's philosophy, allowing Luke to rebuild the Jedi Order not as an institution, but as a living, evolving tradition embracing the nuances of life and the nuances of the Force. As Grandmaster, Luke became the culmination of the old Jedi's legacy, combining their teachings with his own insight to forge a bright future. He embodied Obi-Wan's perseverance, Yoda's wisdom, and Qui-Gon Jinn's harmony with the Force, creating Jedi that were adaptable, compassionate, and resilient. By trusting the Force as his ultimate guide, Luke avoided the pitfalls of the past, attempting to understand the balance of the galaxy, the light and the dark shaping it. Through Luke, the wisdom of the old Jedi would endure, but it was Luke's ability to surpass these limitations that made him the perfect Jedi and a beacon of hope for generations to come. Luke Skywalker stands as a symbol of unwavering hope and resilience, embodying the Jedi's ideals at their highest and their most aspirational. As the Grandmaster of a new order, he overcame immense trial, rebuilding the Jedi after their near extinction, while facing threats such as the Yuuzhan Vong. Luke's journey inspires us because he represents the triumph of faith, determination, and compassion over despair, showing that even in the darkest of times, the Force's light endures. Discussing Legends Luke allows us to celebrate the depth of his character and his pivotal role as the galaxy's beacon for unrelenting hope. A hero who not only upheld the legacy of the Jedi, but transitioned it into something even greater. Each opportunity to explore his story is a chance to reflect and look back on why he remains one of the most profound figures in all of Star Wars lore. But anyway, my friends, thank you so much for visiting us again at the archives here today. Subscribe if you haven't, and if you have, thank you so much. And as always, may the Force be with you.